$50,000 settlement. Here are their stories.
Sexual harassment is shocking enough without having the President of the United States accused of it.
What Mr. Clinton did to me was wrong.
Then he kissed me on my mouth and pulled me closer to him.
You begged him to stop?
Yes. And then he took my hand and he put it on him.
I have said that nothing improper happened.
Bill Clinton raped me and Hillary Clinton threatened me.
I am mystified and disappointed by this turn of events.
I have been telling the truth.
Before I testified in the Paula Jones case, a stranger approached me, mentioned my 13-year-old cat who had disappeared, my tires which had been vandalized, and asked how my children by name were, and said, "You're just not getting the message."
This is about what Hillary Clinton is doing to women like me so that she can attain the presidency. She wants us all to be quiet.
The great story here is this vast right-wing conspiracy that has been conspiring against my husband since the day he announced for president.
And she came over to me, took a hold of my hand and said, "I've heard so much about you." She was just holding on to my hand. She didn't, because I had started to turn away from her. And she held on to my hand and she said, "Do you understand everything that you do?" I mean, cold chills went up my spine.
In the end, I know I will get my good name and reputation back.
That's the first time I became afraid of that woman.
And earlier, I spoke with Juanita Broaddrick, Paula Jones, and Kathleen Willey. Take a look. Thank you all for being here.
Oh,
thanks.
My pleasure.
Glad to be here.
You were invited to the second debate, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and you all came willingly. You wanted to go. Why?
I wanted to support Donald Trump, first and foremost. But I think that the thing that we wanted to get over, the thing that's most important to me and to us, is to tell the women, especially the younger women in this country, and the older women, and everybody, that everybody in the mainstream press is calling all of Bill Clinton's crimes infidelities. Rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment are not infidelities. They are crimes and they are misdemeanors. His wife is covering for him. No champion of women attacks the victims of sexual assaults and rapes.
Paula?
The same thing. I just want to remind the young people that doesn't know our stories and maybe have seen us for the first time, and I wanted them to see that we were there and why we were there, and that hopefully that would have made a statement.
Juanita?
Yeah, I think it's really important for the millennials to know, those that weren't born when I came forward after Bill Clinton raped me, and those that were too young to understand what we went through, especially the time that it was back in the 70s. It was very hard for someone to come forward. And so, yes, I did go to the Trump debate. I thought that we might possibly be able to bring this out and influence people and be able to tell them that Hillary is not for all women. Hillary is only for one woman, and that's herself.
I think you raise a really good point, because I think there is this whole generation of people that do not know your stories.
Right.
Over the years, I've had the opportunity to get to know all of you and interview all of you. And really, I think the more important thing today is, considering this is even in the news today, with Donald Trump, has the mainstream media been receptive to asking you three about your stories?
Oh, definitely not.
Nobody?
No.
Nobody's asked.
No.
Nobody has asked. The
No,
New York
no.
Times never called you?
No.
Not until we went into the Trump spin room.
Okay, well,
And
they were
that
there.
was, yeah.
But in other words, because this is a really important point, because they're all reporting today, Donald Trump did this, or kissed this person or that person. You're saying that none of these media outlets contacted you in this election campaign?
Nothing like CNN.
To tell your story?
Or NBC, or ABC,
CBS.
or CBS.
What, with 26 days to go, and they haven't contacted you? Does that reek of politics to you?
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Should tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me give you the opportunity for those people that have never heard your story. Well, Juanita, we'll start with you.
Back in 1978, when I was working for Bill Clinton's campaign for governor, I was raped by Bill Clinton. I was viciously raped. And then 3 weeks later, when I happened to be at a fundraiser for him, but I didn't attend the fundraiser. I was just going there to hand in information to tell them I was no longer going to volunteer for the campaign. Hillary personally threatened me.
Let me go back to the assault. You're saying you were a nurse at the time, correct?
Yes.
And you wanted him to be governor?
Yes.
At the time. You were working for his campaign.
Right.
So he invited you for coffee.
Yes, it was a long story. After he made a campaign tour around to my nursing home, I was trying to explain to him, Sean, about what the nursing homes were going through. The reimbursement method was horrible. And he seemed generally interested. He wanted to hear what I had to say. So he said, if you're ever in Little Rock again, he said, call me. Let's get together and talk about these things. And as you know, we were supposed to meet in the coffee shop at the hotel while I was staying. When he got to the hotel, he called and asked if we could meet in the room instead. This was the Attorney General. I didn't fear anything would happen.
And you went up to the room?
No, I was already in the room.
Yeah.
I had sent my friend that was with me, one of my employees, Norma Kelsey, on down to the meeting, and I said, when I get through at the meeting, get through at the coffee shop with Bill Clinton, I'll be right on to the meeting. And of course, I never showed up.
And this was a violent sexual attack.
Yes.
And when it was over, there was this moment you told me the first time I interviewed you, that he said to you as he's walking out the door.
He says, you better get some ice on that, referring to my lip, which was bleeding, and at least by that time, was 4 times the size that it should be. I was frightened he was going to bite my lip off.
And you immediately told your friend what had happened.
Yeah, she came to the room when I didn't show up for the meeting.
Yeah.
And she just came out here approximately 2 to 3 weeks ago. She's been frightened to come out and told to the Breitbart people the condition that she found me in. And it's just, when I reread what she told from back then, it was painful to even hear it from her again. You know, how she found me. You know, I knew how I was, but it was hard.
You told her, did you tell other people at the time too?
Yes, about 4 to 5 others.
And they've all corroborated your story that you told them at the time?
Yes.
But he was the Attorney General. You were afraid to speak publicly or report it?
Oh, he could close the doors of my business. Yeah, they say, well, why didn't you go to the police? He was the police. He was the main person in Arkansas, the Attorney General, and then he became the governor.
What about this run-in you had with Hillary? How long after the event? It was 3 weeks?
About 3 weeks.
And what happened? And they were married at the time?
Yes. I went up early to the fundraiser. Everybody misquotes and says, well, why did she go to a fundraiser? I did not go to a fundraiser. I had about 3 or 4 checks, list of people that were going to donate to the campaign, and when I was clearing out everything for the campaign, I found these. And I knew that the lady from Little Rock was going to be there that night. I could give these to her and be done with it and explain to her, I don't want to be in the campaign any longer, something like, my business is taking too much of my time, something to that effect. So I did give her these things, and then just when we were starting to leave, about 20 minutes before the fundraiser began, a gentleman, a pharmacist in the area who was very much for Bill Clinton, but didn't know my story, he didn't know anything, came over to me and was so excited because he said the topic of the conversation the entire way from the airport was Bill and Hillary Clinton asking questions about you. So that's when I turned to my friend and I said, let's go. But as he steps away, here comes Hillary, straight to me.
Beeline to you.
Beeline. She comes straight to me and says to me, big smile, very pleasant voice, says to me, I'm Hillary Clinton. It's so nice to meet you. I just want to thank you for everything that you do for Bill's campaign. And I was just going to turn and leave. I nodded, was going to leave. And then I feel somebody grabbing my arm, and I thought it was somebody behind me. And it was her, and she pulls me back close to her. And she pulls me into her.
Forcefully, in a way, pulled you.
Yeah, oh yeah. With one hand of hers, she's got my hand. With the other hand, she's got my arm. And she pulls me in close to her. And of course, that very sweet voice fades to a very angry voice, a very low voice. And she pulls me close to her. And she says, do you understand everything you do? And that just scared me to death.
And you took that to mean she knew?
I've always thought that. People come back to me and say, well, how do you know that's what she meant? You would have had to have been there. You would have to have been standing where I was, and that woman looking straight in my eyes, very angrily saying that to me. I felt like at that moment she knew everything and was saying, you better keep quiet. There's just nothing that can change my mind.
Wow. You don't recover from something like this?
No. It's been hard. I've had a good life. You know, I have a good family, I have a wonderful church, I have wonderful friends. But this just stays there in the back of your mind. You can't ever get rid of something like that.
You recently were quoted saying you're afraid if she becomes president.
Oh,
Why?
definitely.
What, because of,
yeah.
You don't know what she's capable of? Or?
I don't know what she's capable of. I know what she's done to me in the past, but I don't know what she's capable of.
And coming up, part 2 of my interview with Juanita Broaddrick, Paula Jones, and Kathleen Willey. Plus, we're going to get reaction to my exclusive interview with Judge Jeanine Pirro, Mercedes Schlapp, and Doug Schoen. All coming up tonight right here on Hannity.